Hello, dear audience. Today, we have followed a warm and peaceful story about CEO Tung and Ly Tu Anh. From a gentle morning holding hands while going to the market, to the moments of carefully choosing simple items for their dream bamboo house, and finally returning together to their small home surrounded by nature. Every detail reflects a sincere and pure love, simple yet deeply meaningful. No luxury or extravagance is needed. Just two people building, sharing, and understanding each other is enough to create a complete home. The bamboo house is not only a physical construction, but also a symbol of love, trust, and the journey they share together. It is where they begin a new life, peaceful, warm, and full of hope. If you enjoy gentle, emotional, and inspiring love stories like this, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share to support us. Your support is our motivation to bring you even more meaningful stories. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. The morning sunlight gently spilled across the quiet countryside road, casting a golden glow over the dew-covered grass and the distant rows of bamboo swaying softly in the breeze. It was one of those rare mornings where everything felt still, as if the world itself was holding its breath in anticipation of something beautiful about to begin. CEO Tung walked slowly beside Ly Tu Anh, his hand firmly holding hers, as they made their way toward the small local market. There was no rush in their steps, no pressure from the outside world, only the calm rhythm of two hearts moving in sync. For weeks, they had been working side by side on a very special project, building a bamboo house with their own hands. It was not a luxurious mansion, nor a modern architectural masterpiece. Instead, it was something far more meaningful, a simple home made of natural bamboo, wood, and love. Every beam they tied together, every wall they raised, carried memories of laughter, shared effort, and quiet understanding. It was a place that symbolized not wealth or status, but their shared dream of a peaceful life away from the noise of the world. That morning, they decided it was time to prepare the final touches for their home. The structure was nearly complete, standing gracefully among the greenery like a hidden sanctuary. What remained was to bring life into it. Small household items, simple decor. As they walked, Ly Tu Anh glanced up at Tung and smiled softly. There was something comforting in the way he held her hand, steady, protective, yet gentle. She remembered how far they had come together, from uncertain beginnings to this peaceful moment of building something real. "It feels like a dream," she said quietly, almost as if speaking to herself. Tung turned his head slightly toward her, his expression calm but filled with warmth. "It's not a dream," he replied. "It's our life now. We built it together." Those words lingered in the air between them, simple yet powerful. For Ly Tu Anh, they meant everything. She had once imagined a life full of uncertainty, but now she found herself walking beside someone who made even the simplest moments feel meaningful. The road beneath their feet seemed shorter, not because the distance had changed, but because their hearts were no longer carrying the weight of loneliness. As they approached the market, the sounds of daily life grew louder. The calls of vendors, the laughter of customers, the rustling of bags and baskets being exchanged. Yet even in this lively chaos, they remained connected, moving as one. Tung occasionally pointed out small things he thought might suit their bamboo house, while Tu Anh nodded thoughtfully, her imagination already filling the empty space of their future home. Every decision they made that day was simple, yet deeply significant. It was not about choosing expensive furniture or extravagant decorations. Instead, it was about selecting pieces that reflected who they were together, natural, humble, and sincere. And as they stepped further into the market, still holding hands, Both of them knew that what they were building was not just a house made of bamboo, but a life built on trust, love, and shared dreams. The marketplace was alive with color, sound, and movement. Stalls lined both sides of the narrow path, overflowing with handcrafted goods, fresh produce, woven baskets, and rustic household items. The air was filled with the scent of fresh herbs, ripe fruit, and warm street food being prepared nearby. People moved in every direction, chatting, bargaining, laughing, creating a vibrant rhythm of everyday life. Yet amid this lively chaos, CEO Tung and Ly Tu Anh walked slowly, as if the world around them had softened just for their presence. They did not rush. There was no urgency in their steps, no pressure in their decisions. Instead, every moment felt like part of a shared experience, a quiet continuation of the life they were building together. Their fingers remained gently intertwined, even as they paused at different stalls. It was a simple gesture, but it spoke volumes about trust, connection, and a love that did not need to be announced loudly to the world. At one stall, they stopped to look at handmade bamboo bowls. The craftsman, an elderly man with kind eyes and weathered hands, explained how each piece was carefully shaped and polished by hand. Tung picked one up, turning it slowly, inspecting its texture and balance. Ly Tu Anh watched him with a soft smile. "It matches the house," she said quietly. Tung nodded. "Simple, natural, just like what we want." Without hesitation, they bought a set. A few steps later, they came across woven mats and cushions made from natural fibers. Ly Tu Anh knelt slightly to feel the texture, her fingers brushing gently over the surface. "This feels warm," she said. Tung crouched beside her, watching her expression rather than the product itself. To him, it didn't matter what she chose. The real beauty was in the way her eyes lit up when she imagined their home filled with these simple things. "Then we take it," he said without delay. The vendor smiled, observing their quiet but affectionate interactions. There was something different about this couple. No loud declarations, no exaggerated gestures, just a deep understanding between them that showed in every glance and every small decision. As they moved further into the market, they chose lanterns made of bamboo and paper, designed to cast a soft golden glow at night. Ly Tu Anh held one up, imagining it hanging inside their bamboo house, swaying gently with the evening breeze. "It will feel like home," she said softly. Tung looked at her instead of the lantern. "It already is home," he replied. Her heart warmed at his words. For her, this journey was not just about building a physical space. It was about building a life filled with meaning. Every object they selected carried a piece of their shared story. A simple ceramic cup became a symbol of morning spent together. A hand-woven blanket represented quiet evenings side by side. Even the smallest item felt significant when chosen with love. They continued walking through the market, occasionally laughing when Tung insisted on carefully inspecting items with exaggerated seriousness, or when Tung teased him for being too meticulous. These lighthearted moments made everything feel effortless. Time seemed to slow down whenever they were together, as if the world had decided to give them space to simply exist in happiness. By the time their bags were filled with carefully chosen items, the sun had risen higher, casting a brighter light over the marketplace. Yet for them, the most important thing they carried was not what they had bought. It was the feeling of having shared every decision, every smile, and every quiet moment with each other. As they stood for a moment before leaving, still holding hands, Ly Tu Anh looked at Tung and smiled. "It's just simple things," she said softly. Tung gently squeezed her hand. "But simple things make a home," he replied. And in that crowded marketplace, surrounded by noise and movement, Their world remained peaceful, built not from luxury or extravagance, but from love found in the simplest of choices. The afternoon sun began to soften as CEO Tung and Ly Tu Anh made their way back from the bustling marketplace. Each step they took felt lighter than before, as if the journey home was not just a return to a place, but a return to something deeply meaningful they had built together. In their hands were small bags filled with carefully chosen items: bamboo bowls, woven mats, handmade lanterns, and simple household essentials. None of them were extravagant, yet each carried a piece of their shared intention to create a warm, peaceful home. As they approached the edge of the small forest clearing, the bamboo house gradually came into view. It stood quietly among the greenery, its structure simple yet graceful. The bamboo beams, freshly tied and polished, glowed softly under the sunlight. A gentle breeze passed through the open spaces between the walls, causing the structure to creak lightly, as if it were breathing with life. It was still incomplete in some areas, but already it felt alive, like a living expression of their love and effort. Tung slowed his steps as they arrived. He looked at the house with a quiet sense of pride, not in the way of someone who had built something alone, but as someone who had built it together with the person beside him. Ly Tu Anh stood next to him, her eyes reflecting both exhaustion and happiness. There was something deeply comforting about seeing their dream take shape in front of them, not as an idea anymore, but as a real place they could step into. Without saying much, Tung gently placed the bags down near the entrance. The sound of bamboo rustling in the wind filled the silence between them. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They simply stood there, taking in everything: the structure, the surroundings, and the journey that had brought them here. It was in this quiet moment that the weight of everything they had done together began to settle in. Tung finally broke the silence, his voice calm but full of meaning. "It's almost finished," he said. Ly Tu Anh nodded slightly, her gaze still fixed on the house. "It already feels like home," she replied softly. Her words were not just about the physical structure, but about the feeling it gave her: security, warmth, and belonging. Tung gently stepped closer and placed his hand on her shoulder. The gesture was simple, but it carried a depth of emotion that words could not fully express. "This is just the beginning," he said. "Everything we build from now on, we build it together." Ly Tu Anh turned her head slightly toward him, her expression softening. In that moment, she didn't need reassurance. She already knew. A light breeze swept through the bamboo house, making the hanging pieces of wood and leaves chime softly. The sound was delicate, almost musical, blending with the natural rhythm of the forest around them. Ly Tu Anh leaned slightly toward Tung, resting her head lightly on his shoulder. It was a small gesture, but it carried the weight of trust, comfort, and shared dreams. They stood like that for a long time, saying nothing. There was no need for conversation. Everything important had already been said through their actions, their choices, and the journey they had taken together. The house before them was not just a shelter. It was a reflection of their bond, built patiently and sincerely, one piece at a time. As the sun began to lower in the sky, casting golden light through the bamboo walls, the house seemed to glow from within. It was no longer just a structure in progress. It had become a space filled with meaning, memory, and promise. Tung gently squeezed Ly Tu Anh's hand once more. "Let's finish it slowly," he said. She smiled without looking away from the house. "As long as we're together," she replied. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by bamboo, wind, and fading sunlight, they understood something simple yet profound.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Ly Tu Anh Review. Vậy là câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay đã kết thúc tại đây. Nội dung câu chuyện hôm nay của chúng ta thì đã kể về việc đó chính là những khoảnh khắc rất là ấm áp và bình yên của CEO Tùng và Ly Tu Anh. buổi sáng hai người đã nắm tay nhau đi chợ, cho đến những khoảnh khắc lựa chọn từng món đồ nhỏ cho căn nhà nhỏ của Tú Anh. Tú Anh cảm thấy rất là vui vì cuối cùng cô cũng đã có một căn nhà tre của riêng mình, và đó là căn nhà mơ ước của cô. Và cuối cùng là giây phút CEO Tùng tạm biệt Tú Anh để trở về bên công trình của anh để tiếp tục làm việc. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn về câu chuyện CEO Tùng và Lý Tú Anh sẽ còn được kể ở các video tiếp theo. Các bạn đừng quên bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh sẽ nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các câu chuyện sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Lý Tú Anh Review nhé. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều đã luôn theo dõi và ủng hộ hành trình của Tùng và Tú Anh. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại. Bye bye.